Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video we'll be looking at React navigation, and this is a library that is going to help us to move from one screen to another screen or switch between the bottom tabs to making things like drawer navigators. Again, don't worry too much about the jargon. We are going to be looking at how we can be able to move from one part of our app to the next one using React navigation. Now, navigation in a mobile app is different from a web app. So if you are using like Google Chrome, you can go back, you can click a link that can take you to another page. You can have like a menu bar. But when it comes to apps, navigation is slightly a bit different, and we'll be looking into that. Again, I would like to say that apologies that I've not been posting regularly my videos because of COVID, and but I'm hopeful that from now going forward I'll be posting at least one every 2 or 3 days. So without further ado, let's go back to GitHub. We first look at the overview of the project and where we are. So far in our app, we've been able to cover quite a lot from, why we need to use React Native. We covered Expo, how to install. We did style sheets, we did React Native elements, and now we'll be doing React navigation. We still have quite a lot to do. In the next video, we'll be doing API calls. Then we'll talk about authentication flows. Then we look at other things like recycler list views, flat list, detail views, and then we'll briefly look at how to manage state using various methods. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the code. And so this is how our code looks like, where we last left. And just to give you a historical background, is that this is the app that we are building. And we need, of course, we are yet to make this splash screen. We are going to do authentication in a couple of videos from now. But I remember that we did majority of this part. It's still yet to become so neat and clean, and we'll do that in due time. But we still need to make a lot of screens. Like this is a detail screen. We need to make like a wish list. And if you look down here below, you'll see that we need like a navigator, we need a home button, a cart, a wish list, a profile, and we need other things. We need like a checkout page, we need like an order confirmed page, amongst other things. We'll still come to do the cameras and other things. Okay, and if you look at this page, we also need like a header. Like this is a detail screen. We have like a back arrow here that if you click, you go back. So this is what we need to do. So but before we start coding, there's a few things that I wanted we do. The first one is in our project we are using expo, let me see, app.json, or is it package.json. We were using expo, is it 37? We're using expo 37, and as of about last week, today is 4th of July, Happy Independence Day to all Americans. So about a week ago, Expo 38 was released. So if you come and Google Expo, come to Expo documentation. I want us to upgrade to the latest version of Expo because it brings new things. So wait for that to open. My internet is bad today, apologies. Then if you come here on the left, there is I believe, click on guides and come to upgrading Expo. Yeah, so Expo SDK 38 was released, and the way you upgrade is quite easy. So I'll just open here. I'll just type here Expo upgrade, I believe. If this doesn't happen, just go the old school way, of which you delete your node modules, which I've done, then install Expo again. Cannot determine which native SDK version your project because the module is not installed. Okay, I deleted my node module, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn install. I deleted my node module, so because the project's a bit old. So as wait a minute. Yeah, so as that is installing, let's go and look at React navigation. So you Google React navigation, then you click on the first thing that comes up. We want to go quickly through the documentation. And I come here to documentation, the docs. I need to make this to be 100. Right now it's saying here that we're in version 5.5 point something. Again, this is also a new version of React navigation, which is a complete rewrite of the old React navigation. And this is more component based. However, I'm more versed with React navigation 4. So in this tutorial going forward, we'll use Apologies, we'll use React Navigation version 4, so this is what I'm going to use. So, and here it's giving us an easier way of how to install. We're going to yarn install this, then we'll install other dependencies. So because we are still installing, this is still installing, what I'm going to do is I'm going first to clean up our app. So right now everything is in this app.js, so and I need to clean up all of this code. So I'm going to minimize this on the right, and I can copy. I'm going to copy. Let's look. Okay, so I can copy everything here. I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to create a folder here called components. Again, don't worry about the naming of the folder. You can name it anything you want. I just like naming things components. And then I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this home because homescreen.js. Okay, I'm going to remove that. And I need to create a new app, so I'm going to import IMRC. My shortcuts are not working. Import React component. Oops. So that's not working, so import React from React. I'm going to import React as well as component. I hope that's correct. Then I'm going to export default. I'm going to call this home screen. Make it a function-based component. Then we are going to return everything that we had copied. So we need to import a few things. We need to import, for some reason my IntelliSense is not working and I cannot auto import. I don't know why. So let's see if this will work. I need to import, okay. Need to import view text, and I think we also have like a touchable opacity from. I actually believe the reason this is not auto completing is because we deleted my node module, so it cannot be able to find these packages. Okay, and now I need to import this. Okay, so okay, still not working. Okay, then we import our home screen from components, home screen. And now this should be okay. Okay, so I'll just wait for this to finish quickly, then I'm going to resume the video.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so it's still installing. I think this will take quite a while. So we can go back to the presentation and let's go over a few things. So what are the different type of navigators and what do we mean when we say a navigator? So for example, let's just go. So for example, here on the left, you can see like we have this our app. On the bottom here, we have this bottom navigator. And most apps will have this, whether you have your Twitter, sometimes it can be below here or up top here, it's still a tab navigator. This is what is called a bottom navigator. You'll find the other apps probably like LinkedIn or let's say Instagram, you can have it on the top. And each of these navigators usually lead to somewhere. So take the way to understand a tab navigator is like the root navigate, not technically the root, but it's an aggregation of screens and other navigators. Then we have something which is called a stack navigator. So a stack navigator, the way to visualize that is if you are to overlay screens on top of other screens, where, for example, in this case, we have these mangoes. If you click on these mangoes, it's going to take you to this screen, which is now going to overlay this screen on top of this screen, and you get the details of that. Then if you add to cart, for example, it brings you to this wish list or some other page on top, and this screen is drawn over this other screen. And if you continue like now to payments, you got your order. So that is what we mean by a stack navigator. These are screens that are hypothetically stacked on top of each other and you can navigate between them. So if you go back, it's going to come here. If you go back, you come back to this. If you go back, you come to this. If you click, you go forward and backwards. And a good example is, for example, if you are like on Twitter, you can have like your feed. If you click on a story, you get the detail of that feed, then you can go into a comment and go into the comments that are inside that comment. So in our app, we are going to have something like this where you have, like now taking the example for Twitter, for example, you have like a home feed. If you click on like one tweet, you get like that detail of that tweet. Inside that detail, maybe you can have like a button for sharing. If you click on that button for sharing, you get like a feed that shows you the multiple options you can share, maybe to WhatsApp, to LinkedIn, and other. And yeah. So then it's also important to know that stacks, you have your bottom navigator. And for bottom navigator, you can have like this home screen, that the home screen is home to a stack navigator. For example, you can have a profile screen, and inside that profile screen, you can have a page, and inside that page, you can have another stack. So it's possible for a tab navigator to have stacks. You can have like this search page just to be like one page. It's not a must that for each component of a tab navigator to have a stack navigator. You can still have like a single page. And so the way we are going to organize our work is we are going to have like this a simple code for like a share feed, like this screen. This is a simple component. Then we are going to create something called a stack navigator, and these are now the various screens that make a stack navigator. So for example, here we are seeing we have this share feed, and that's the screen. We are going to have like a details screen, component of the stack that will point to the details screen. After we are done making the stack navigator, we'll combine the different stack navigator. In this case, this was the home stack, which is this one. But now we'll combine other stacks or other pages to make a tab navigator. Again, a tab navigator can be made by stacks and it can be made by pages. In this case, you are seeing like this home is made of this home stack. The search is only made of one screen. The settings is also one screen. Profile is made of another stack. After we create the bottom navigator, we are going to create something called an app container. Then we are going to inject that into the root of our app. And that's basically our workflow. So let's go back to code and see if that has finished. So it's finishing now. It's now installing and building. We'll give it a 4 minutes. Then we are going to upgrade to Expo SDK 38. That will also take some time, but I'll be pausing the video. Then after that, we install React Navigation. We make a few screens. Then we'll be good to go.
Much later.
Okay, so that has finished installing. We have a node module. So what I'm going to do is do Expo upgrade. Again, if you've just installed Expo if you've just now followed my tutorial from scratch around now, you don't have to do this. I'm only doing this because my project was a bit old. So it's saying my Git working tree is dirty. It's recommended to commit all our changes. Would you proceed? I first say no. So let me just Git add that. Okay, then git commit -m Expo upgrade to 38. Okay, then I do the Expo upgrade. And I think I'll make this a bit big so that we see what is happening. Okay, it's saying you are currently using SDK 37. That's correct. Would you like to update to the latest version? So I say yes, enter. Would you like to upgrade the Expo app in the Android emulator? So I've not opened the emulator yet. So I'm going to say no. In your case, if you've opened the emulator, you can continue and say yes. So I'll say no. So it's going to install Expo 38, and I think it's important if I just open the package.json here so that we see what's happening. I'm going to close this, expand this a bit. Again, we'll also give this a second. If any changes happen, I'm going to pause the video and show you what has happened, but just note that here we are in Expo 38. You can also see that in the React Native SDK version here, although I probably need to change this to 37 as well. Not to worry, let this finish, then we are going now to actually dive into the code. And so you can see that this has it's cleared after upgrading. Everything has completed, everything is working. Okay, it's saying the following packages were not updated. You should check React Native Elements. We are not using that for now, so I won't do that. And you can see automatically it changed this to Expo. We've also updated our React and React DOM versions and also the React Native Web. Nowadays, Expo ships with React Native Web, so that when you want to make cross-platform, if you want to share your code between the app and if you want to make like a website, you can still do that. And you can see also here it's changed to this. Okay, perfect. Now the next step, what we need to do is now just to install all the dependencies. I had closed off my browser, so allow me to do that because it was taking time and I wanted to free up some memory. So we'll open up the docs, and remember we are using version 4. So I'm going to yarn add this. So I'll come here and paste 13. Hopefully this one does not take a lot of time. Okay, resolving packages 1 out of 4. Then after that we are going to, let me just pull this on the right. Then we're also going to install other dependencies. So we need React Native gesture handler, of course, for animation when you are swiping or moving from screen to screen. reanimated, which for animations we need React Native screens, safe area context. This is for new phones like the Pixel, or phones like Samsung that has like a camera, the camera like above the screen, or rather they have cameras that the hole punch in the screen in the mask view. So I'm going to copy this, wait for this to finish again, just give it a second, then we install that. Then after that installation, I will begin writing the code. Okay, so that has finished. Then I'm just going to install everything there, install that. Then we go back to this. Let's see. Again, we are in an expo manage project. We are not in the bare project. So that is done. We don't need to link. No, we don't need that. So we continue to hello React navigation. Here they are going to give us some boilerplate. We need to install one more thing. We need to, with React navigation, for everything from React, the stack navigator, the tab navigator, the drawer navigator, they've all been split to make the bundle easy, such that if you're not using the stack, or for example, in our case, we're not using the drawer navigator, there's no point of us installing that, which makes a lot of sense. So I'm also going to copy this, and once this finishes, I'm going to install that. Let's see if we need anything else. Then we need to create a stack navigator. So let's wait for this to finish. Okay, so that is finishing installing, which is okay. We've added all that. Then we need to install React navigation stack. I'm actually going to check what we need for a stack navigator. I want to see if we have one for React navigation tab navigator. Okay, but first let's install this. And as this installs, I think I won't wait for that. I'm just going to come here to, I'm going to close this. I'm going to come here to our app.js. Right now we only have the home screen. And remember from our presentation, we said that we are going first to create the screen. Now we won't be importing the screens to the home page. Actually, I'm going to call this app. Then I'm going to export it as our app. So we won't need to do this. We need to create a tab navigator that has all the screens, that has all the stacks, that have all the screens. Then that's what you're going to import. So to do that, I'm going to create a folder here. I'm going to call it navigation. You can call it whatever you want. And inside here, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it, let's say, main tab navigator. Again, you can call this whatever you want. The reason I've called it main tab navigator is because at the end of the day, we'll create a tab at the bottom, and that's what we are going to export. Okay, so to create a navigator, what do we need? We need screens. Let me just do that. We need a couple of screens, or rather, to use easy language, we need components. I'm going to use components here. Then we are going to require to make either stacks or use components as well. Then we are going to create a tab navigator that has all the stacks and the components. Then we are going to create, we had a function that is create bottom. Actually, that's that. Then we are going to export this. I think it's called app container. And this is what we are going to export. Oops, app container. This is what you are going to export to the main app. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to create a folder here. I'm going to call it navigation. I'm going to call this navigation. Then I'm going to export this. I think it's called app container. And this is what we are going to export to the main app. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to create a folder here. I'm going to call it navigation. I'm going to call this navigation. So right now we only have this home screen, so I can import this first of all as a component. I can say import home screen. Let's see if it's going to find it from, and this is components home screen. But this is just one screen. I can create another quick app here. So I'm going to say export const from our app. Let's say we have a wish list. We have a wish list screen. This is going to be just a functional component. Export function. This is only going to have a return statement. That has a view and has a text. This is called wish list screen. I think we had a profile screen as well. No, actually it was a search screen. Apologies, I closed the mockup because the computer I'm working on right now is super slow. So we'll work off with this. So I'm loading here my Android. Okay, that's loading. Okay, so we now have three screens. We have this home screen, which is in another file. We have a wish list screen. We have a search screen. We can have like a profile. Again, I'm going to open the presentation in a short while. Profile screen, and I'm going to call it profile screen. I think this can be enough for now. So the next thing we need to do, this has finished installing. And so now what I can do, I can open here an emulator, wait for this to finish. So I'm going to open the PowerPoint here. We have a home, we have a cart, a wish list, and a profile. So I'm going to build one for cart. So right now we have profile, we have search. So we don't have search, it's actually a cart screen. I'm going to call it cart. And again, you can name this whatever you want. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. Okay, so now that is done. This is still loading. Come on. Okay, I'm going to open an emulator here. Just give it a second. I need to change to my workstation, which I don't have currently. So I'm doing all the recording and all the typing, and all the apps are open in my laptop. Okay, so I'm going to open an emulator. As that is opening, the next thing that we need to do here is to create a stack. So if I come to the tutorials, you'll see creating a stack navigator. So we need, so we have here a couple of screens, and the way you create a stack navigator is like this. Actually, I'm going just to type it out so that it's a bit easier to follow. So we are creating now a stack, and right now I want us to create a stack for this home screen. So I'll say const home stack is equals to create stack navigator, and this is a function that takes in a dictionary of values. And we need to import this create stack navigator. Let's see if the IntelliSense will work. No suggestions. So I'm going to come here up top and say, first of all, I need to import React. Yeah. Then I'm going to import create stack navigator, and this is from React navigation. I hope I'm right. Yes. Is it React navigation or React navigation stack? Let me check. From here, I think I'd written a sample code. Create stack navigator. Okay, I'm going to check the tutorial. This is it's actually from React navigation stack. Yeah. Okay. So need to close this home screen. So this is from React navigation stack. Again, everything has been moved into its own package. I also need to import these things. Come on. Yes. And I need to import this text. My computer is super slow today. Yeah. Rather just type it. Okay. So far so good. So now we have this create stack navigator, and now this takes a few things. So it's a function that is creating the stack navigator for us, and we need to tell it all the screens, or rather all the components that are part of that stack navigator. The easiest one to do is that you can give we want to name it home, exactly this word home. So I tell him I want to create a screen. I mean a screen. We are going to give it a name home, and beg your pardon. So this one will be we are giving it the name of the screen, and now the actual screen. So actually this I want to import from this home screen. So I'm going to call it to import home screen. Okay. So this is the name of the screen. We can call it maybe home 1, home whatever you want, home 1, home 2. And this is now the actual component. In this case, we've imported from another page. That's one way. Another way you can let's say I want to give this as the cut screen. So I can come here and say cut. And I can give that, I can expound more. I can say screen. And I can say the screen is cut screen. Okay, let me just confirm if that, yeah. So you can give something and then you give it screen and home screen, and you can add more. The only advantage of, so these are the two ways you can do that. You can give it a custom name as you want. Then you write the name of the screen. In this case, I've done this a second way in which you give it a name. Again, this one you can call it whatever you want. You can say cut2. Cut2. Then you give it a dictionary of the screen. So the reason of doing this is maybe you want to do, you can pass more factors into it. For example, there's a tab. I think there's something you can pass called tab visible, and you can say this is false. So this one enables, this method allows you to put more conditions to the cut, and I will see that as time comes by. So this one is generic out of the box. So so we've created the stack navigator. Okay, so do we need to say export? Probably export const. Okay, now we come here to create now the actual tab navigator. Then after we create the tab navigator, we wrap it in the app container, then we export it, and our tutorial is as good as done. Okay, so how to create a tab navigator? So I'm going to come here to, so first of all, we can export this as the app container as it is. So because by the way, it's not a must that your app has a tab navigator. So let me import this, create app container, no suggestions. Let's see where to import it from. Believe it's from now React navigation. Okay. And I'm not using this. Okay, so here I'm going to say export start. I'm going to come here. I'm going to cold boot this one because I've not opened it in quite a while. Yeah, so far so good. As this is starting, what have we done? We've created a couple of just basic components, and we can ideally we should put this in other files. So for example, we need to export this to the components, but I'm just doing here easily so that and we need to export all of these. I'm putting them in the same file so that it's easy to follow. So export. Oops. I can't type. What have I done? Oh, I had already written export, yeah? Okay, so okay, so it's starting the app. Okay, so this is going to start. Then we need to run this. Okay, my computer is really struggling. So the Metro bundler is starting, but before it starts, I can explain something more. The reason here we have custom names is that in future now, when we want to move from home screen, let's say to cut screen, we can say this.props.navigate. Then we say, for example, inside the app now we'll be saying things like this. We can have a button, and on clicking the button, we are going to have something like this .props.navigate. Navigate, then we say something like cut to. So this is a name that is going to enable us whenever we are in another screen somewhere in the app, we navigate to this name. But we'll come to that. Again, let's just follow. So I'm going to click A to open in the emulator. It's going to try to open the project on Android. Again, Expo is not installed here, so probably it's going to say that it's going to download. As that happens, let's try to find code for creating the tab navigator. So we've already done that. Something we've forgotten to do. Now that we've exported this app container, export default app container. Now in our app.js, instead of the home screen, we can come and import. Let's first import that. So we can say import tab navigator. Again, you can call this whatever you want because we exported as default from the main tab navigator. Yeah, So you can, because you've exported as default, that means here you can name it however you want. I'm going to call it Tab Navigator from navigation. This is main tab navigator. Okay, so then this is what I'm going to, yeah, it's downloading that. So this is what we are going to put here. And now our app is as good as done, but we are yet to make the tab navigator. So as this is downloading that app to, yeah, here they've called it app container. You can call it whatever you want. We've already done that. This is a shorthand, which is okay. We have a detail screen, initial stack navigator, initial. This is okay. This is okay. Let's see if we have moving between screens. I want to search if they have examples for creating a tab navigator. Okay, so I'm going to search here tab navigation. So I click on that. Make sure that you are in version 4 still. Okay, so this is a minimum example, and we have a couple of screens, and then I'm going to copy this code, return to main tab navigator. So I export, I'm going to say export const tab navigator, create bottom navigator. So we need to import this create bottom navigator, and we need to install, for that we need to install React navigation tabs, I believe. Either way, let's just do it. I'm going to close this. Again, I know guys, this looks like quite a lot, but once you do this, it's mostly like a boilerplate. And once you do this, you only do it once, and after that, it will only be about now filling the functions. So this is create navigator from React navigation, I think is tabs. And now we'll need to install this. I'm going to open a new terminal in the same place. I'm going to say yarn add. Okay, as that is working, let's see if okay, now the Expo is now installing on our emulator. And now here we've created a tab navigator. Again, it's similar to this tab navigator where you have this function that we've imported from React navigation tabs, which we've just installed. Then here now is where now we name this tab. So in our tab we have for things home, search, settings. In our tab now we have home, cart, wish list, view. So we are going to have home, cart. We are going to have wish list, and we are going to have one written new. So for home, it's not going to take the home screen, it's going to take this home stack. This is the distinction. Again, we said for a tab navigator, it can take either a stack, it can either take a button. Now this button is exactly the name, it's the same name as this one, and each one of them can either take a stack or a screen. So in our cart, we have, okay, I know I had already put cart inside the home stack, but I can have the cart screen by itself here. Wish list, we have the, do we have a wish list screen? Yeah, we have a wish list screen. So wish, and you, I think we have a profile screen. Like so. And now we have our Tab Navigator. Now instead of exporting the default app navigator, which was actually this one was supposed to be home stack. Now I'm going to put this one. Yeah, previously we were supposed to put home stack. Now I'm going to export this Tab Navigator. Yes, and now everything should be working. So let's give it one more second, then we continue. Okay, and finally it's been able to come through. It's saying hello there friends, since this is your first time opening, because this is a new version, I'm just going to say got it. I'm going to, it's okay. Yeah, and now we have our old app, but if you look carefully at the bottom, we have the home cart wishlist and you, and this is this stuff here. So actually I need to rename this to be like small. And all the names here correspond to this home cart wishlist you, home cart wishlist you. So if I change this to home, you know, home like with no, those are not supported. So let's say I say home 27 for lack of imagination. Here you see home 27. If I click on cart, we go to cart screen, which is this one. If we go to wish list, we go to wish list screen, which only shows this word. So if I change this to, I am now in wish list screen. So if I click on wish list, so the way it works is we are in our app, we'll go from bottom up. So maybe I can minimize this like so. I don't need this anymore. So we have our app. Inside this app we have this Tab Navigator, which was created here by this create app container. This create app container took this Tab Navigator. Now this Tab Navigator is what we have here. The name, this can be anything, home 27 cart wishlist you. This home corresponds to this home stack. Home stack has two things, the home screen and the cart. But remember, here in box 4, we said go to details. If I click this, I expect me for it to take me to cart. So if I click go to details, I'm supposed to go to cart 2. Because remember, here in the home screen, there's somewhere we've put a button and we've said, where is that? This .props.navigate to cart 2. So, and I can go back. So if I click this, and you can see automatically React Navigation gives you this back button. So I can go back, I can go to cart, wishlist, I can go to you, which is profile. Now the only things which are lacking, and if I click, you can see it's highlighted as blue. Now the only thing that is missing now is the icons. This video is a bit long, so I'll do icons in the next video, and I'll also try to reduce the time significantly. Maybe I make it like a 10-minute video. Again, as always, thank you so much for following my tutorial series, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. A quick suggestion is somebody in the comments suggested that we start a Telegram channel where now everybody will be asking their questions and we'll be discussing and growing the community there. So the link to the Telegram description, Telegram channel is in the description below. Please check it out, join it, and I'll be answering all questions that are directed there. As always, thank you so much for following. Subscribe, share, comment, and let's join the Telegram channel. Thank you.